Great teams that go on to win it all in any sport have a handful of things in common. An incredible drive to be the best, an organization that supports them, 1 or 2 star players to rally behind, and the fact that they all live in the same house. Wait, what? That's not true at all. Who wrote this? While drawing comparisons between traditional sports and competitive gaming is pretty common, there might be nothing more uniquely esports than the gaming house. Also known as team houses, these nerd dojos began popping up in Korea towards the end of StarCraft Brood War and the beginning of StarCraft 2. And the motivations behind them were pretty simple. Organizations would move their players under the same roof where they'd work, eat, live, and hopefully improve together.
그냥 집에서 혼자 하는 거는 한계가 있어요. 그 외에 밥 먹을 때라든가 뭐 평소에 잘 때 뭐 심지어 애들이 편의점을 가거나 근처에 뭐 놀러를 갈 때조차도 게임 얘기를 계속 한단 말이에요.
And if you already think this sounds like a situation that could easily become a disaster, you're right. But we'll get to that. Although players could communicate through the internet, the teams with dedicated houses found there was an advantage to sharing the same physical space.
이게 시스템이거든요. 숙소 생활을 하느냐 안 하느냐 차이가 제가 봤을 때 커요. 바로 옆에, 바로 앞에 내 동료들이 있잖아요. 그러면 내가 못했을 때, 잘했을 때 어떤 피드백이 빨라요.
And for a long time, the record pretty much spoke for itself in StarCraft. Korea was utterly dominant, to the point where Western pros began making the pilgrimage to these houses to live and learn from the best.
So what is the main benefit of living in a house like this?
For me, it's like not having to do a lot of chores and having food provided and where I can just play all day and not have to worry about stuff. And then also having other people around me where I can watch them play, or if I need to talk to Greg about something, he's there, or if I need practice partners like for GSL or whatever, I can practice with them and talk about strategies.
As esports continued to grow in the early 2010s, more North American organizations began to see the value in team houses.
The Evil Geniuses Lair is a training facility in Phoenix, Arizona that houses most of the members of the StarCraft 2 professional gaming team of Evil Geniuses.
Am I in the shot?
Yeah.
But it wasn't just StarCraft teams that were getting scrim cribs. As League of Legends continued to surge, Team Solo Mid set up their first gaming house in Long Island, New York, with the hope that it would take their roster to the next level.
We just lost after working so hard. How can we be better? How can we be a better team? And we all thought a gaming house was essential to doing that.
By 2013, gaming houses were no longer the exception, but instead the rule. And with Riot Games launching organized leagues in the West that were played on location, it only made sense for players to live in close proximity to one another. Although gaming houses were conceived with the goal of improving performance, it quickly became clear that they were also useful for developing clout.
He just got back from the break! Go! It's the Clout!
Team houses were able to popularize both players and organizations because the environment was a goldmine for producing immediate, accessible content.
The cops has actually came to our house like 2 times now. One for the carbon monoxide alarm, one for this fire alarm, and Chaos almost killed us twice as well. So there's a lot of stupid ass people into the TSM gaming house.
Optic Gaming's Call of Duty house was built specifically upon this idea, with the team's owner Hector Hex Rodriguez stating that the organization didn't just want to produce star players, but gaming celebrities.
YouTube, how the fuck you doing? Hey guys, Nate Shot today. We're making a brand new video, and you guys are going to be getting an updated setup tour at the Optic house.
On top of competing for titles in Call of Duty, Optic built their brand and community around streaming whatever games were popular at the time and regularly uploading prank videos.
Shock treatment? Alright, now put on static shirt.
Now, despite the entertainment value that gaming houses produced, as they grew in popularity, it became clear that they didn't always offer ideal living situations. After all, it's a house full of young adults who may never have lived away from home, done their own laundry, or cooked their own food.
I'm sorry, are you eating turkey chili off of a Frisbee?
Even in the best days of StarCraft, there were indications that this type of arrangement could take a toll on players.
억울하지 않다고 하면 거짓말이죠. 그냥 평범하게 대학교 다니고 나가고 싶을 때 나갈 수 있고 놀고 싶을 때 놀 수 있고 이런 거는 정말 부럽긴 한데
Ultimately, this environment became notorious as a breeding ground for all sorts of stupidity. For instance, TSM's The Odd One had a diet that consisted mostly of junk food and soft drinks, which basically led to him contracting a health condition resembling scurvy.
I've been sort of sick lately, but I think I'm getting slightly better.
What is he, a fucking pirate? Junk food was the source of embarrassing drama in Heroes of the Storm as well. Back in 2015, the community was left shaking its collective head when Tempo Storm's roster was partially torn apart by a stolen bag of Funyuns.
Look at these! Woo, 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 woo.
And if dealing with headaches caused by Funyun theft accusations wasn't enough, at least there was the threat of scorpion ambushes to distract you from it.
Get over here!
But sometimes it wasn't the immaturity of the players that was the problem. It was the house itself. This was the case when the Tainted Minds League of Legends roster moved into a gaming house in Australia. On top of lacking the essentials for actually practicing, like functioning internet and PCs, the building didn't have basic amenities like laundry or air conditioning.
How's it going? Fucking hot enough for you? Oh, fuck, it's hot, eh?
The only thing that made the situation worse was how management handled it.
At first they were like making promises like this is going to be fixed by that date, but they would never reach their deadlines. And then we communicated directly with the org, and they would tell us to go through the manager, but every time we went through the manager, nothing would get fixed.
So how can you keep the advantages of a gaming house but avoid their penchant for chaos? Well, some organizations have attempted to find a middle ground, creating facilities where players can practice and work, but another where they can live, preferably on their own.
Let's go in here where all the magic happens, aka where I watch Netflix because I live alone.
One of the earliest adopters of this strategy was Cognitive Gaming's Heroes of the Storm team. The players lived in apartments in threes, but then played and worked in a private room at an internet cafe in San Jose.
They offered to move us out to San Jose, put us in apartments, and give us a space to work out of.
We can just like leave the computer for a little bit, go outside, and we have friends that are right outside our team room.
Unsurprisingly, this model actually works because, you know, most people actually enjoy not living with their coworkers. Sorry, Matt.
That's true.
And today, some orgs have taken this concept to the next level. For example, Team Liquid has a pretty swanky facility in LA, which accommodates their different game rosters.
So we made the decision to move away from the antiquated gaming house-centric model of having all of your staff and athletes living in a single-family home. It was leading to more depression and anxiety for athletes, surrounded every single day, pretty much every hour of the day with your coworkers. And without that separation of kind of personal and work, it was leading to mental fatigue.
Teams in China have ridiculous training facilities too. Look no further than OMG, whose home base looks ready to blast into orbit at any point. On the other end of the spectrum are the insanely over-the-top live-in gaming houses, like this enormous secluded manor that CIS org M19 used for their boot camp. Or more famously, FaZe Clan's Clout House, a decked-out mansion that takes the idea of associating the team brand as a lifestyle to a whole new extreme.
Why do you got shoes on? What are you doing?
Day in the life, this is how I start my day, right?
Yeah, no, you have shoes on.
People sleep with socks on, I sleep with shoes on.
And with all these organizations competing against each other for talent and the attention of fans, gaming houses have transformed into a flexing contest. For instance, Optic's old CSGO house in Chicago included an outdoor hockey rink and indoor pool, while 100 Thieves' Fortnite team has a 9,000 square foot mansion equipped with a piano that no one can play properly.
It's about as bad as it can possibly get.
For the foreseeable future, these two types of gaming house will probably coexist and in some cases blend together. But as esports continues to develop, we'll have to see if social clout and competitive performance continues to drive a revolution in the way pro gamers practice and live.
Miles, don't you think it'd be fun if we all lived together?
Matt, they couldn't pay me enough for that to happen. All right, so it's day 23 of living in theScore Esports house, and I don't know how much more of this shit I can take. I mean, Sean, he just corrects everyone's grammar all the time. Colten, he's just watching anime all day. And that idiot Colin, he just leaves his mustache trimmings everywhere.
Have you seen my Funyuns, Miles?
I haven't seen your damn Funyuns. Get out!
Don't you think it would be fun if we all lived together? That's one happy family.
Definitely not.
Man, you think he's tearing this family apart.
And that fucking idiot Colin keeps leaving his mustache trimmings everywhere.
Miles, have you seen... Someone shouted, Miles!